What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my Chaos Monarch deck profile. I'm going to go ahead and hop right into here. We got the main deck, the Chaos, BLS, DMOC, Chaos Sork. DMOC's really nice in this deck because you are playing a tribute heavy deck, so it's not too difficult to tribute summon him. We're also playing things like Premature Burial and Call of the Haunted, so we got ways to bring him back, get some value off of him. Once he gets banished, don't have ways to get him back from there, but you know, sometimes resolving one DMOC is all you need in a duel. BLS Chaos Sork is chaos. You know what it's about. For our Dark Tribute monsters, we got Dark Ruler Hades and Genzo. Genzo, we all know what he does. Turns those traps off. Dark Ruler Hades, crazy slept on card. Negates the effects of monster destroys by battle. Actually negates the effects of all monsters destroyed by battle by a fiend, but you're really only playing him as a fiend. Negates things like Sinister Serpent, set monsters, you know, run over a spy with this, they ain't getting that spy. You run over that Sinister Serpent, that serpent's not coming back. Great card, love it, love the art, such a cool card. One of the main reasons I wanted to play this deck. Not gonna lie. Alright, the Dark package, you got your staple Breaker, Kaiku, Triple Spy, Spirit Reaper, and Double Apprentice. We are playing a lot of monsters that float into another monster, so things like GK Spy going into another Spy, Apprentice Magician floating into another Apprentice Magician, floating into Magician of Faith, and another spicy tech we got in this deck. Just a really good card overall. Kaiku for the Chaos Hate, Breaker because it's a staple. Can't be caught not playing Breaker. Then for your light tributes, we got Zaborg and we've got Air Knight. I do side the other Zaborg. I just like to main deck the Air Knight in case you've got like a Soul Exchange or a Brain Control in hand. Your opponent only has one monster. You don't want to have to summon Zaborg and pop himself. So being able to summon Air Knight, especially if it's like a Brain Control situation, you know, you can take your opponent's Chaos monster, tribute it off, attack with Air Knight, and then draw a card, get some value out of it. Super cool card. Zaborg's great too, especially if you got Soul Exchange and they got two monsters. All right, so then the light engine, whoa, we're throwing my cards. We got 2 Shining Angel, 1 DD Warrior Lady, 2 Magician of Faith. The best lights we could play in this deck. Angel into DD Warrior Lady. Hell, you could even go into Faith if you got Book of Moon in hand if you really want to. A couple things you can do with that. But the main thing is Shining Angel being able to float into itself, or even DD Warrior Lady, or hell, even Faith, just to be able to have tribute fodder, or getting Warrior Lady on the field to deal with an opponent's monster. It's really good. Shining Angel also has some other spicy floating options from the side deck, so it can even get some more utility that your opponent's probably not expecting post-board. And then, of course, Faith synergizing well with Apprentice Magician, being able to float and then flip, get your spell back, tribute for Monarch, get all that value. And then for the non-Chaos engine, we're playing Tribe Virus and my spicy little tech here. We've got Hand of Nephthys plus Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. Now, the Nephthys package here, it's really only 2 cards, but it does kind of, it can cause a brick, obviously. You know, you can brick on Sacred. You just got to summon Nephthys and then get it out of your hand. But the other thing with this package is that we do play Royal Decree in this deck. So, you know, you're probably going to have Royal Decree up. You're going to shut your own Royal Decree off. But you're playing 2, so maybe you keep 1 in hand. Sacred Phoenix, blow up, set. You know, you'd be pretty good. But if you do have Royal Decree up, it does kind of force your opponent not to be able to respond with traps. So that is pretty nice. Really like the package, but, you know, open to cutting it for something else. Tribe Virus, really good. You're really only getting like 1 or 2 activations of Tribe per duel probably, so usually you're discarding something like DMOC. You know, we're not playing Sinister Serpent in this deck. I just don't really like Serpent in this deck. The only thing it really facilitates is Tribe Virus and Graceful, and I'm not going to play Serpent to facilitate 2 cards. Just not what I want. For the spells, you know the name of the channel. We're Trinity now. You got the first Trinity and the second Trinity. You got to play the Snatch, the MST, and the Storm. Snatch in this deck, so much better. This is the best deck you can play Snatch in. Others are, you know, nothing to say about them. Next cards we're playing are Nobleman, Book, and Premature. Premature, great. Get that Demock out of the graveyard. Get anything out of the graveyard, tribute for a Monarch. You know, this says pay 800, summon a Monarch, which is nice. When I say Monarch, you know, I mean really any of my tribute summons. Book of Moon, great for if you want to float into a Magician of Faith off of Angel. You can book it on your next turn and then flip it back up, get your spell back, whatever. You can do something like that. Protect your monsters from chaos. It's great because you're playing Royal Decree, gives you one more form of defense. You also have Book plus Nobleman, so you can Nobleman something if you really need to get rid of it, and that's all you have. A couple of ways to use Book of Moon in this deck. I only like to play one Nobleman. I really only like playing one Nobleman in most decks and then side decking the second copy, especially in a deck like this that deals with face downs pretty well to begin with. I feel like it's not really needed to play two. Because, you know, you have things like Dark Ruler, Hades, Zaborg, Soul Exchange. Hell, you can even attack into it with Air Knight. You know, a lot of different ways to deal with face downs. We're also playing one copy of Swords Revealing Light. Crazy card. It's finally picking up popularity, I feel like. Just such a good card. This is so great in this deck because, one, you know, you can set your faith, play your swords, protect your faith. You know, if they got Nobleman, they got Nobleman, which they probably do. Always happens to me, I swear. But you're also protecting your monsters to be able to summon a Monarch next turn, which is fantastic for this deck. Now, another way to easily facilitate summoning your Monarchs, you've got one Soul Exchange and two Brain Control. I do side deck two other Soul Exchange. Brain Control, cracked card. Can't believe this thing's at 3 in this format. I also play a lot of Edison format, and this is at 1 for good reason. Little better there just because of synchros, but, you know, here in Edison format, you know, in GOAT format, being able to tribute for Monarch with Brain Control is really nice. Doing other things, you also tribute with Nephthys. You got Soul Exchange, tribute with Nephthys. You got a bunch of cool ways that you can get rid of your opponent's monsters with these cards. And then for the Trap Engine, like I said, I am playing Royal Decree, but before Royal Decree, we are also playing Ring, Mirror Force, and Call of the Haunted, and then the 2 Royal Decrees. I like to play a small trap package, just some blowouts. You know, Call of the Haunted's great with Demock, also just great being able to get a monster on the board to tribute summon with a Monarch. Mirror Force, blowout card, you know, you force your opponent to play around it. Ring, just, you know, I feel like that's a staple trap card. You got to play Ring. Moving on to the side deck, no extra deck. You know, we're not playing Metamorphosis. We're not side decking Metamorphosis, so there's no need. We got the extra Zaborg in the side deck, along with 2 Mobius. So this is our additional Monarch package. Mobius is great for those back row heavy decks or warriors. Zaborg for chaos. Just really good card, being able to pop those set monsters, or just any big monster, really. So Zaborg's just crazy good. For the GOAT matchup, we got the double Azura Priest. I like Azura Priest just because it adds to our light engine. It's one of the best light monsters that's situational, I feel like. And it's just a really good card overall. I really like Azura Priest. It does kind of have some negative synergy with Monarchs. Obviously, you're summoning a monster that's going back to your hand, so you're not going to be able to tribute next turn. But we have so many ways to tribute monsters in this deck. So it's worth getting rid of goats. You know, you're not summoning a Monarch that's getting rid of all those goats. But Azura Priest will. So, I said earlier, we've got 2 cards that Angel gets to float into. And this is kind of for memes. Time Wizard's the meme pick. Jowgen's actually a good pick. Jowgen is what I call the Reasoning Gate hate, along with Spell Canceller. So Spell Canceller in a Monarch deck just makes sense. You got to play this card, I feel like. Honestly, I might cut Time Wizard just for a second. Spell Canceller. Time Wizard's here because you can float off a Shining Angel. You can float off of Apprentice Magician. So it's just another light target to float off of 2 monsters. His effect can come up. You know, if you float off of one of those 2 monsters and you summon Time Wizard, what have you got to lose? You know, you got to take 250 damage, lose Time Wizard, big whoop. If anything, you got another monster on the field that you can tribute for, and then maybe put a light in your graveyard with another dark, being able to summon your chaos monster. There are ways that Time Wizard does work really well here. His effect is just also funny as hell. Obviously, Jowgen, you know, say no to special summons, and then being able to discard 1 card to show off special summons, crazy effect. Spell Canceller, turn off Reasoning Gate. Don't even let them play the game. They're not really playing GOAT, so let's not let them play. And some warrior hate. We've got the double kinetic soldier. Reason I like this card in this deck is because if you have dealt with the Mystic Swordsman level 2s, or you're just not worried about them, and then you set this and then they attack into it, one, they're taking a load of damage. Two, you just left a monster in your field. Next turn you could tribute it if you really wanted to. I mean, against the Warriors, you probably want to leave this on the field. But I just like having this card in the side deck just because Warriors are very popular. And of course, like I said, we are playing the extra Nobleman in the side. And then 2 Soul Exchange. These are coming in against Chaos Turbo for sure. Definitely want to deal with those flip monsters. Don't want your opponent getting any advantage off of them. Soul Exchange is a cracked card. You sacrifice your battle phase, but you take the advantage away from the opponent, which is great. And the last 2 cards, don't lose to burn, play Mystic Walk. I don't know what else to say about it. Just play Mystic Walk. It's great in this deck because, a lot of times you have a monster that floats into another monster. Granted, some of your other floaters are a little bit weak, so if you got, like, Nephthys on field and you have to Mystic Walk, you're not really gaining much. But, if you got a Monarch on the field, just being able to tribute him, get 2,400 life, that's huge against the burn matchup. You need to play it. You gotta not die to burn. I hate losing to burn. That pretty much wraps up the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any suggestions, comments, anything, let me know. I'm always open to changes, criticism. I really like the deck. I think it's really fun. I think it's a fun way to play GOAT format. But hell yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys.